Such a shame that this group doesn't enjoy getting together and talking. Our scripture this morning comes from various verses in the 69th Psalm. Save me, O God, for the waters have come up to my neck. I sink in deep mire where there is no foothold. I have come into deep waters, and the flood sweeps over me. I am weary with crying. My throat is parched. My eyes grow dim with waiting for my God. But as for me, my prayers to you, O Lord, at an acceptable time, O God, in the abundance of your steadfast love, answer me. With your faithful help, rescue me from sinking in the mire. Let me be delivered from my enemies and from the deep waters. Do not let the flood sweep over me, or the deep swallow me up, or the pit close its mouth over me. Answer me, O Lord, for your steadfast love is good. According to your abundant mercy, turn to me. Do not hide your face from your servant, for I am in distress. Make haste to answer me. Draw near to me. Redeem me. Set me free. Insults have broken my heart, so that I am in despair. I looked for pity, but there was none, and for comforters, but I found none. But I am lowly and in pain. Let your salvation, O God, protect me. You have heard the ancient texts.
About hope. I'm not inspired much right now, but even so, I came out here to sing a song, so here I go. I guess I think that if I tinker long enough, one might appear. And look, it's here. One verse is done. The work's begun. I come to sing a song about hope. In spite of everything ridiculous and sad, though I'm beyond belief depressed, confused and mad. Well, I got dressed. I underestimated how much that would take. I didn't break until right now. I sing of hope and don't know how. So maybe I can substitute strength, because I'm strong enough. I got through lots of things I didn't think I could, and so did you. I know that's true. And so we sing a song about hope, though I can't guarantee there's something real behind it. I have to try to show my daughter I can find it. And so today, when life is crazy and impossible to bear, it must be there. Fear never wins, that's what I hope. See that I said hope. The works begins.
Jack found that song through Google. Jason, what is it? Jason Robert Brown is a Broadway actor. We've talked about the theological importance, right, of not separating sacred and mundane. How many songs are we missing out in worship because we're not looking to the folk singers and to Broadway? Throughout the past 6 weeks, we've looked for hope in a number of different contexts. Hope in chaos, hope amidst lies and violence, hope against the odds, hope in liturgy and worship. Today our focus is hope in despair. And I should say, I walk where angels should fear to tread. With the utmost respect, at the absolute uniqueness of everyone's experience. So what I say may or may not connect with your own experience, your own feelings, and I hope you will hear more invitation to think than any type of claim to have gotten it. We heard suggested in the responsive words of gathering that despair waits for us all. In the moment we lose sight of the larger whole of which we're a part, in the moment we lose courage and forget community and feel disconnected from any sense of creativity, it's not that we will all despair. It's that there will come moments for all of us. There will come circumstances for all of us in which we might. What is despair? We should probably try and be on the same page here as much as we can be. The water has come up to my neck sums it up pretty well, I think. The Psalms are often so good at boiling down emotions to their basics and to a wonderful image. It's a moment when we no longer see the point, when there's no hope to be discerned, often within circumstances in which we're overwhelmed. But I don't want us to honor the reality of despair. Should not be limited by suggesting that it's just circumstantial, that circumstances circumscribe it or explain the feeling, that circumstances offer a perspective into the depths of the feeling. There is no perspective in despair, or despair is the perspective in despair. You can see I'm kind of trying to feel my way into talking about what's hard to talk about. Within the context of our worship theme, overhearing hope, etymologically, the word despair goes back to roots that connote without hope. So today we struggle with the idea of hope somehow when we're without hope. In thinking about despair, it seemed right to think in terms of there being two levels or two contexts or two time frames. Again, important to note, talking about time, there's no particular timing to all this. It's kind of like grief, the timing of despair, unique to everyone's experience of it. But two time frames, an initial panic, I don't have any options. And then a subsequent resignation. I don't have any options. Characteristic to both, yes, not seeing any options. The water is up to my neck. It's been rising steadily. There's no reason to think it's not going to keep rising steadily. That is my status quo. Once it reaches a certain level, I will be no more. And there is nothing I can do. All of that a part of despair. The sense of finality, the sense of inevitability, the sense of helplessness, and again, how long it lasts, so particular. In the excerpts from Psalm 69 that Bob read earlier, we begin with the first 3 verses in and through which I think we can all identify with the imagery of the psalm, or more than the imagery, the feeling of the imagery. Save me, O God, for the waters have come up to my neck. I am down, I don't have a solid foundation. I'm sinking in mire. There's no foothold. There's nothing solid beneath me. I've come into the deep waters. I feel the current. It's trying to sweep me away. I've been crying. I am sick and tired of crying. My throat is parched. My eyes grow dim waiting for God. I have been looking for God, who is nowhere to be found. There it is. Finality, inevitability, helplessness, despair. Welcome to worship at Woodbrook. But that's real. For some of us it has been. It may be real for some of us, and it might be real for some of us down the road. So what better place than in worship, in community, to give it attention. Those first 3 verses setting the stage are followed by 9 verses of the writer's suffering at the hand of the enemies, largely because of the writer's allegiance to God. So circumstance and despair are the result of that allegiance. So we hear also in this, hey, God, you're partially to blame for all this. If we have any sense of God in charge, if we have any sense of that old God controls everything, then that's inescapable, right? If this is what I'm feeling, if this is where I am, God, why? But then we get to verse 6, or we get to 6 verses of hope. But as for me, my prayer is to you, O Lord, at an acceptable time, in the abundance of your steadfast love, answer me. That's pretty impressive. When the water's here and you say, in an acceptable time, I mean, you've got about this much time. With your faithful help, rescue me from sinking. Let me be delivered from my enemies. Don't let this flood sweep me over. Don't let the deep swallow me up. Answer me, for your steadfast love is good. According to your abundant mercy, turn to me. Don't hide your face. What has the experience of this writer been with regards to the face of God? It's nowhere to be seen, is it? Don't hide your face. For I am in distress. Make haste to answer me. Draw near me. Redeem me. Set me free. 6 verses of another perspective. Within despair, but with a lack of that finality, a lack of that inevitability, a lack of that helplessness, right? A resistance to all that. And God shifts from being partly or largely to blame for all this to being potentially the source of hope within it, the potential source of salvation. Then we get 3 more verses of the writer suffering at the hands of the enemies. I didn't give all this to Bob to read because I thought I could just summarize, right? Because you would have gone to sleep. But Psalm 69, it's worth sitting down to read through verse by verse. I didn't think here was the time to do it. So 3 more verses of the writer suffering at the hand of the enemies, and then 7 verses of the writer praying curses upon the enemy, which I have to say can be kind of fun to read. There are times when looking at some of the imprecatory psalms, the psalms where you're really, wishing for nasty things to happen to bad people, they can be kind of fun. They can be kind of helpful. Then another verse of hope. I'm lowly and in pain. Acknowledgement of the circumstances. Let your salvation, O God, protect me. Which is to say, right, the conditions have not changed. But hope somehow remains. Within no hope, somehow, there's still hope clung to. We then wrap up with the last 7 verses, 7 more verses of praise, and no change of conditions. The first 3 verses are as real at the end of the psalm as they are at the beginning of the psalm. Save me, O God, for the waters have come up to my neck. Except by now it's a little higher, right? It's to the bottom of the chin. Or maybe it's over the chin. I have nothing solid to stand on. I'm in deep water. I'm feeling the current. I'm crying. I'm sick and tired of crying. I'm all dried out. My throat is parched. And my eyes are still dim, waiting. But those 7 verses of praise indicate within unchanging conditions a mind and an imagination and a faith looking beyond those conditions, unwilling to allow them the final word. There is the escape from despair. That's when you're looking at the lollipop and thinking, that's the sun. So very realistic. Not a change in circumstance, but of me in my circumstances, my perspective, my curiosity about alternatives, my unwillingness to simply say, this is it. So biblically, I went on a hunt this past week for moments of despair, or moments that could have well led to despair. And I thought about Peter and John thrown in jail overnight in Jerusalem by the Sadducees and the temple guard, and how, this is what the Bible says. They were assumed to be uneducated, inexperienced men. These are easily intimidated, backwards rednecks from, Nazareth? No, they're around the Sea of Galilee, but not the sophisticated metropolitan areas. And then the leaders and the elders and the legal experts were surprised at their confidence. Dennoch getrost. And couldn't find a way to punish them. Surprised at how they transcended their circumstances, how they transcended the expectations. I thought of how King Herod had James, the brother of John, killed and Peter arrested, and how Peter was asleep between 2 soldiers bound with chains. Being asleep in circumstances like that, itself an anti-narrative to despair, right? And the angel led him out into the night. So the first story is Acts 4. This one's Acts 12. I thought of Paul and Silas. They were stripped. They were beaten with rods in Philippi. They were thrown into the innermost cell of the prison with their feet bound in stocks. But around midnight, here's the anti-narrative, they were, you all know the story, right? What were they doing? Singing hymns. There was an earthquake, the doors to the prison opened, everyone's chains fell off, and the jailer was going to commit suicide. Now who's in despair? That was his moment of despair, wasn't it? But because he was sure, inevitable, hopeless, right? The prisoners have all escaped. There's no way out for this for me. But they were sitting in the jail cell with the door open and unchained, right? They didn't escape. They didn't leave. No, we're still here. Acts 16. I'm using the concept of an anti-narrative. It's not just a counter-narrative. It's not just against the story that's unfolding. Anti-narrative. It's a completely new story. The curious unfolding of the story into confidence where there shouldn't be any, into angels and light shining in the darkness, and an impromptu hymn sing, and freedom where there shouldn't be freedom, and hope in what should be despair. Here's the thing. If you invite God into your story, into your circumstances, into how you are feeling, there will be more. There will be more than what feels oppressive to you, what feels inevitable to you, what feels final to you. How could there not be more with God? It's an entirely different perspective on things. It's not accepting. It is refusing to accept the status quo. In the midst of all of this, I'm going to write a song about hope. In the first season and the 8th episode of the TV show Ted Lasso. Everyone seen Ted Lasso? If you haven't seen Ted Lasso, I highly recommend you get over any concern you have about the predominance of the F word and just enjoy it. In the first season, the 8th episode, there is what is known as the dart scene. So if you've not seen Ted Lasso, just go home, Google dart scene. I thought about, we're not, again, homework. If you're interested, watch it. It's well worth it. I just have things I need to get through. And part of that scene is a quote attributed to Walt Whitman, who someone knows it, right? Be what? Oh, come on. Be curious, not judgmental. It's actually not, no one can find it in but it's attributed to Walt Whitman. Be curious, not judgmental. The critically important value of finding out more than you think you know about someone else. I thought I knew everything, and I don't. Right? It's not final. It's not inevitable. There's more. Be hopeful instead of scared might be another juxtaposition worth considering. I'm serious. Go downtown, right? Walk the inner harbor, and when you see the person coming toward you, instead of thinking, think, image of God, what if this is a wonderful opportunity? In the movie The Shawshank Redemption, many of you may remember Red, Morgan Freeman's character, questioning the value of hope in prison, right? Hope is a dangerous thing. Hope can drive a man insane, imprisoned, not seeing any options, not seeing a way out, definitely not singing hymns. We get that perspective. Later in the movie, though, Red reads the letter that Andy wrote, right? And hope is a good thing. Maybe the best of things. And no good thing ever dies. Thomas More, author of Soul Care, wrote a book called Writing in the Sand, Jesus and the Soul of the Gospels, in which he suggests we all have our olive gardens of despair. He specifically suggests that moments of despair are, whatever else they might be, invitation into a deeper fullness of life. I would quibble with him a little bit. I would say the invitation is to hope on the other side of the despair, but, it's fine. It's part of the same conversation. It's worth considering. There's something worth chewing on there, right? When it all seems decidedly for the worse, what more is there to say and experience? Resist the temptation not to see more. Some of you don't know this. This is a congregation, looking back through the years, that has historically responded well to the invitation to look through the fear and the inevitability and the expectations. This congregation walked with John and Cheryl Duvall through John's cancer diagnosis and his death. This congregation walked with Sonia Park through her lupus, right? Lupus diagnosis and death. This congregation walked with Jim and Margaret Oshida through her pancreatic cancer diagnosis and death. This congregation has known the grief and dennoch the grace. The grace nonetheless, in spite of, has recognized despair as, sometimes despair is not feeling it all, right? Despair is part of, it's shutting something down. It's not allowing the fullness. And this congregation has resisted. Feel it all. Which is the hurt and the pain and the grief and the doubt and the anger, the rage. And if you'll go there, then it's also the more than that. Our first hymn, it's one of my favorites. But I was sitting there thinking, as we were singing, earth has no sorrow, heaven cannot heal, cannot cure, cannot remove. Not sure I believe that. Earth has no sorrow, heaven cannot honor. Earth has no sorrow, heaven cannot balance. Earth has no sorrow, heaven cannot love us through. Cure, remove, heal. Does that honor the fullness? Or does that take away what's hard and leave us with the easy end? Our closing hymn is "My Shepherd Will Supply My Need." Do we believe God will supply our need? At one level, I don't. I speak for me. I didn't say we don't. I don't. Too many children go without their basic needs to not think that's an absurd affirmation. So maybe we say, well, at a different level, at another level, in truth, God meets our fundamental basic needs for blessing, for affirmation. We are beloved. You are unique. You are beloved by God. You are wonderful and important and needed. You are forgiven time and time again. You are part of God's good work of redeeming, and you are always invited into the more and more and even more. Which is to say, is it not that God does God address the needs of my circumstances? No. Does God address the need of my deepest being? Yes. It's a very important distinction to draw, and the church and religious leaders have gotten them mixed up and messed up, and that creates all kinds of messiness. The prosperity gospel gets God all tangled up, saving us from our circumstances, which for the God of the Jesus who went to the cross seems a little bit problematic to me. The gospel affirms God saves us essentially not from our circumstances but within them. Does it come together? Life as it comes to us, when we're honest, when we're real, oh, it can be wondrous. And it can be terrible. And when it is terrible, pray to God you have a community to walk with you. To remind you, okay, I know it all feels closed in on you. I know it feels inevitable and oppressive and inescapable. There's more than that. I don't know when you'll get there. I don't know what you're going to have to go through to get there, but there is more than that. Because God is with us. Not fixing things into some happy ever after, but walking with us into something maybe we can begin to imagine is more. May it be so. Fear never wins. And despair doesn't have to win either. That's what I hope. See, I said hope. The work begins. Receive this prayer that I pray for Sydney and Audra. That you would go from here and know the depths of joy, wonder, love. That you would know yourself surrounded by people who care for you and feel the possibilities extending before you that are limitless. But if life happens, may there be people there to cry with you and hold you through it and remind you there's more. In Jesus' name.